The stars stretched endlessly across the black sky as the alien ship descended toward the planet below. The warriors inside had traveled across galaxies, conquering worlds and subduing civilizations that dared to resist them. They were proud, ruthless, and confident. Every new planet seemed like a step toward glory. But this world, this so-called Deathworld, was unlike any they had ever encountered. Commander Zalkar, the leader of the alien force, leaned forward, in his seat, his three eyes scanning the barren surface. "It is primitive," he said, his voice cold and sharp. "Barely a settlement. The humans will be easy to crush." His second-in-command, Vrix, hissed in agreement. "Yes, Zalkar. They cannot possibly survive in this harsh environment. Their structures are flimsy, their weapons outdated. We will strike and claim this planet as our own." The alien's ship, sleek and dark, glided over jagged cliffs, thick forests, and vast rivers that seemed to move with a life of their own. The terrain was hostile, but to the aliens it was simply a curiosity, something strange but not dangerous. They believed danger was only what threatened them directly. Below, humans moved with purpose. They worked in small groups, repairing structures, tending fields, and preparing for the harsh weather that could strike without warning. Every human task, from lifting heavy stones to guiding livestock through narrow mountain paths, was performed with calm precision. To an outsider, it might have looked ordinary, but on this death world it was anything but. As the alien ship descended, humans paused and looked up. They were aware of visitors. The humans had grown used to monitoring their skies, knowing that danger could come from above, from wild creatures or from sudden storms that could crush buildings and wash away fields in minutes. They did not panic. They did not flee. This was life. Ordinary life. Zalkar signaled the warriors to prepare for landing. Their armor gleamed under the sun, reflecting a confidence born of countless victories. "We strike at dawn," he commanded. "Let them see the power of true warriors." The ship landed with a thundering impact, kicking up clouds of dust and debris. Humans stepped back, but not with fear. They simply moved aside, letting the newcomers settle near the edge of the settlement. Children hid behind sturdy walls. And the adults watched silently, calm and alert. The aliens disembarked, their heavy boots crushing the strange plants beneath them. Vrix scanned the area. "Primitive defenses," he sneered. "They cannot resist us for long." Then something strange happened. As the aliens advanced, one human, a young woman named Lyra, stood in the open, holding a long metal rod. Her eyes were steady, her posture relaxed. She watched the aliens without fear. Suddenly, with a swift motion, she used the rod to swing at a rock, sending it flying toward a cliff edge. The rock tumbled, hitting a loose boulder that rolled down the hill with a thunderous crash. The aliens froze. Zalkar growled, "What is this? A trap?" Lyra didn't wait. She moved quickly, dodging the shadows of the aliens, and guided the boulder toward another, smaller rockslide path. It was a simple act, but it forced the aliens to retreat a few steps to avoid being crushed. Their confidence wavered for the first time. "Impressive," muttered Vrix, his voice tight with unease. "But it is just a trick of the terrain." Zalkar's eyes narrowed. "Do not underestimate them. Observe carefully, we will find a weakness." As the day passed, the aliens watched more humans going about their tasks. Some were carrying heavy water containers across steep cliffs. Others were climbing trees to harvest strange, thorn-covered fruits. Some humans guided small groups of dangerous animals through narrow paths, using only their voices and careful gestures. To the aliens, each act seemed impossible. The humans moved as if the world itself were nothing more than a playground, fearless and precise. By nightfall, the aliens regrouped. They had seen human skill and courage, but they refused. To admit it threatened them. "They are lucky," Zalkar said. "A clever species, but luck is not enough to survive a true warrior's attack." Vrix was less confident. "Luck does not explain the way they handle venomous creatures without hesitation, or the way they climb cliffs without falling, or the calm with which they face storms that would crush most life forms. "Commander, I am beginning to think they are different," Zalkar snapped. "Different does not mean strong. We will strike tomorrow at dawn. Prepare the warriors." Meanwhile, humans had already noticed the alien presence. Lyra returned to the settlement and spoke to the leader, an older man named Kale. "They are unlike any attackers we have faced, but we are ready," she said. Kale nodded. "Prepare the defenses, but remember, we survive here every day. Ordinary or not, our strength is in our knowledge and courage. The aliens will see what ordinary really means." Humans moved through the settlement with quiet efficiency. They repaired walls, checked weapons, and set traps, not out of fear but as preparation. To them it was a normal evening, as ordinary as the sun setting behind the jagged mountains. That night the aliens could not sleep. They gathered in small groups, discussing what they had seen. Some warriors whispered in fear, sharing stories of human acts that seemed impossible. A child catching a poisonous snake barehanded, a farmer guiding a herd through a storm without injury, a woman building a shelter in minutes while lightning struck nearby. Zalkar paced back and forth. "Focus. Fear is weakness. We are warriors. We do not tremble at simple acts of survival." Yet, deep inside, even he could not shake the growing unease. Humans moved through danger as if it were nothing. They treated poisonous plants, deadly animals, and raging storms as everyday challenges. This world had shaped them, trained them, and forged them into something extraordinary, and the aliens were beginning to realize that brute strength alone would not be enough. As dawn approached, the alien warriors gathered their weapons and armor. The first attack was planned. They believed they could crush the humans quickly. They were wrong. Humans stood silently on the cliffs and pathways of their settlement, watching the approaching enemy. They were ordinary by their own standards, but in this harsh world, ordinary meant strength beyond imagination. Every human present, man, woman, and child, had faced danger countless times. Every human had survived what would terrify most species. And now, these warriors from another world were about to discover that ordinary humans were not so ordinary after all. The first rays of sunlight struck the horizon. Dust and smoke rose from the alien landing site. Zalkar raised his weapon, signaling the attack. The humans held their ground, unflinching. The air was tense. Every heartbeat, every breath, every movement was loaded with anticipation. Then, Lyra stepped forward, a small but deadly smile on her face. She looked at the approaching alien warriors and whispered to herself, "Ordinary is enough." The alien warriors froze, not because of fear alone, but because they did not yet understand the strength that faced them. What they considered weak, vulnerable, and ordinary was something they had never seen. Humans who survived and thrived where death was common. Humans who were born on a death world and turned every danger into a tool, a weapon, or a lesson. First clash was about to begin, but already the aliens knew, deep in their hearts, that they had underestimated something incredible. Something ordinary by human standards, but extraordinary by any other measure. The battle had not yet started, yet the shadow of fear had crept into the hearts of even the bravest alien warriors. And this was only the beginning. The morning sun painted the jagged cliffs and winding valleys in gold and orange. Mist rose from the rivers, curling around the rocks like ghostly fingers. On the horizon, the alien warriors marched forward, their armor shining, their weapons ready. They believed this day would mark their triumph. They thought it would be easy. But humans do not live on a death world without learning lessons that cannot be taught. Every human in the settlement was ready. Kyle, the settlement leader, stood atop a ridge watching the alien advance. He held a long staff and wore a simple tunic, yet there was a strength in his posture that demanded respect. Lyra, standing beside him, scanned the approaching warriors. "They think we are weak," she said. "They think this world is ordinary. Let's show them the truth." The aliens reached the edge of the first human fields. Fricks laughed, his voice echoing across the valley. "See, Zalkar? Nothing to fear here. Just rocks, plants, and weaklings." But as the aliens stepped forward, the humans were already moving. Children and adults alike took positions along narrow paths, behind rocks, and among trees. They did not cower. They prepared. Ordinary survival skills honed over decades of living in danger were now weapons. The first trap was simple but effective. Lyra signaled to a small group of teenagers who pulled ropes tied to hidden boulders. Massive rock tumbled down a slope, forcing a group of alien warriors to leap aside or risk being crushed. The aliens hissed and growled. They were strong, fast, and trained, yet the simplest use of the terrain forced them into retreat. Zalcar roared, "Stand your ground. They cannot defeat us." But as they advanced, more hazards appeared. Humans had studied every part of their world. They knew where rocks were loose, where rivers ran fast, and where poisonous plants grew. A warrior stepped on a patch of bright red vines and immediately felt a burning sensation on his leg. He swung his weapon in anger, only to be pushed back by a well-timed log trap that rolled down a hill and blocked the path. "What is this?" Vrix growled. "They cannot all be trained for this." "Adaptation," muttered Zalcar. "They adapt. But we will break them." The humans moved with calm precision. Kyle raised his staff and whispered instructions. A group of young women released nets woven from strong vines over a cliff edge. Alien warriors who thought they could sprint forward found themselves entangled and struggling. Their fear grew with every unexpected obstacle. Lyra ran along the ridge, her movements swift and natural. She ducked under a low branch, climbed a steep slope, and guided a small group of humans carrying boiling water. With careful aim, she poured the water onto a patch of sharp rocks where aliens were advancing. The liquid hissed and splashed, startling the warriors. They were forced back again, gritting their teeth in frustration. Even the youngest humans were fearless. A child, no older than 10, guided a small poisonous snake toward an advancing warrior. The alien froze, unsure how to respond. The humans treated such creatures as ordinary, harmless tools in the hands of those who understood them. Zalcar felt a sting of disbelief. He had faced countless species, creatures that could kill with claws, teeth, or venom, yet none had moved like humans. Ordinary humans were extraordinary. Every small, ordinary act, climbing, jumping, dodging, crafting, guiding animals, was a demonstration of skill the aliens could hardly comprehend. "Commander," Vrix hissed, his voice tight. "We are not prepared for this. These humans, they are dangerous in ways we cannot predict." Zalcar slammed his fist on his armor. "Dangerous? Nonsense. They are strong because they survive here. That does not mean they can defeat trained warriors. Attack formation Beta. Push forward." The aliens surged again, weapons raised. But the humans had already prepared for this. They led the warriors into narrow canyons where falling rocks, hidden spikes, and venomous insects awaited. The aliens' confidence began to falter as the simplest, ordinary traps caused pain and disarray. Lyra and her team moved from one point to another, communicating silently. They used hand signals, whistles, and subtle movements to coordinate their defense. Every human knew the terrain better than any alien could hope to. Where the aliens saw a simple valley, humans saw a network of paths, traps, and safe zones. By midday, the alien warriors were battered, frustrated, and confused. Their weapons were scratched, their armor dented, and their spirits shaken. Yet they had not faced the worst. Humans did not fight only with weapons. They fought with intelligence, patience, and creativity. Every obstacle seemed like a game to them, yet it was deadly for the invaders. One alien, trying to charge a human barricade, was suddenly caught in a net of vines. As he struggled, Lyra swung a weighted rope, knocking him off balance and sending him tumbling down a shallow ravine. He landed among sharp rocks, growling in fury, but unharmed. Ordinary humans had used ordinary ropes to defeat an extraordinary warrior. Even the aliens who remained standing were uneasy. They had conquered countless planets with brute force, yet here, brute force seemed almost useless. Every movement, every step, every action the humans took was calculated. Humans expected danger, and they thrived on it. Ordinary humans were born on a planet that killed easily, and they had become masters of survival. Kale moved silently among his people, observing the alien movements. He noticed the fear in their eyes, the hesitation, the second-guessing. It was subtle but unmistakable. The aliens were powerful, yes, but their confidence was cracking. Humans did not need massive armies or advanced technology to survive. They only needed knowledge, courage, and unity. The battle continued for hours. The sun rose higher, casting shadows that moved across the cliffs and valleys. Aliens tried to flank the humans, but every path was watched. Every movement was anticipated. Humans had turned survival into an art form, using ordinary skills in extraordinary ways. Even the air seemed to favor the humans. Sudden gusts of wind sent dust and debris into the eyes of the aliens. Rain began to fall unexpectedly, making rocks slippery and rivers swell. To the humans, this was normal. To the aliens, it was chaos. Every natural hazard became a weapon in the hands of those who understood it. Zalkar called for a retreat. "Regroup," he shouted. "They are stronger than expected. Maintain formation. Do not panic." But even he knew deep down that panic was creeping in. The humans had not even needed to use their deadliest weapons yet. They had only relied on ordinary skills, honed to perfection by life on a death world. As the aliens retreated, humans followed cautiously, ensuring that their territory remained safe. They were not cruel. They did not revel in pain. But they understood strength, and strength required control. Every human who moved that day carried the knowledge that they could face danger and survive, not because of luck, not because of weapons, but because danger was ordinary and humans were extraordinary. By evening, the alien warriors had regrouped far from the human settlement. Many were nursing wounds from simple traps. Their confidence was shaken. Zalkar stared at the horizon, his mind racing. They are only humans," he muttered. "But they survive everything. How can this be?" Vrix crouched beside him. "Commander, I believe we underestimated them. Every act we thought ordinary, climbing, dodging, crafting, facing animals, is extraordinary to us. They are warriors unlike any we have met?" Zalkar did not reply immediately. He clenched his fists, feeling the sting of doubt for the first time. He had conquered countless worlds. He had faced monsters, armies, and natural disasters. Yet here, on this death world, humans had shown him that ordinary life could be deadlier than any battlefield he had ever known. Night fell over the valley. The humans returned to their homes, tending to minor injuries and repairing minor damages. To them, it was another day. Ordinary life on a death world. They did not celebrate victories. They did not boast. They had survived another challenge, and that was enough. The aliens, however, could not rest. They gathered in their temporary camp, whispering among themselves. Fear was a quiet shadow over their ranks, growing with each retelling of the humans' actions. Even the bravest warriors could not hide the tremor in their voices. Zalkar, pacing alone, muttered, "They are not weak. They are more than we imagined. We will return, we will strike, but we must prepare, for they are not ordinary. They are something else." And as the wind whispered through the cliffs, carrying the faint sounds of human laughter and chatter, the alien warriors realized a terrifying truth. They had encountered a species that treated the deadliest challenges as ordinary, and ordinary humans could destroy the mighty. The first day was over, yet the war had only just begun. The aliens had tested humanity, and humanity had passed. And in the shadows, watching every movement, humans prepared for the next challenge with calm determination, knowing that ordinary life on a death world was enough to make even alien warriors hesitate in fear. The alien warriors had retreated to the rocky plateau overlooking the human settlement. Their ranks were scattered, their confidence shaken, and the wounds from their first encounter still fresh. Even the strongest among them, Commander Zalkar, felt a strange unease growing in his chest. The humans had not used advanced weapons, alien technology, or overwhelming numbers. They had only relied on ordinary life skills, Yet those skills had been more effective than any army he had ever faced. Vrix, his second-in-command, paced nervously. "Commander," he said, "they are impossible to predict. Every time we plan an attack, they adapt. Every trap we set is met with a counter. It is extraordinary." Zalkar's 3 eyes narrowed. "We must study them. We cannot attack blindly. They survive in this world as if it were a playground. Ordinary life has made them formidable." Below, the humans moved through their settlement as if nothing had happened. Children played among the rocks, laughing as they balanced along narrow cliff edges. Farmers repaired minor damages to walls and water channels. Hunters checked traps and guided livestock through the rocky terrain. Storm clouds gathered on the horizon, yet the humans worked calmly, knowing the rain would not break them. Ordinary life on a death world required constant vigilance, and the humans had learned it well. Lyra moved quietly along a ridge, observing the alien camp with sharp eyes. She had studied their movements, their formations, and their reactions. She could see fear flicker in their eyes, an emotion they had never shown before. Ordinary humans, she thought, had the power to teach even the strongest enemies a lesson. Kale joined her, leaning on his staff. "They are strong, but they are not used to our world. Our greatest weapon is not the spear or the trap. It is our understanding of this planet. Every danger is familiar. Every hazard is ordinary. And ordinary is enough to make them hesitate." That evening, the aliens gathered around a fire, attempting to recover. Some tended to wounds, others sharpened weapons. Yet there was tension in the air. Every warrior knew they had been humiliated, not by a stronger force, but by creatures they had assumed were weak. One alien warrior, small and quick, whispered to Vrix, "They handle venomous creatures as if they are toys. They climb cliffs without ropes, swim across dangerous rivers, and laugh at storms that would crush us. How can they be ordinary?" Vrix did not answer. Even he could not explain it. Humans were unpredictable, resourceful, and fearless in ways that defied alien logic. Every action the humans took demonstrated resilience beyond training, skill beyond instinct. As night fell, the humans gathered in small groups around fires of their own. They spoke quietly, sharing observations from the day. Hunters reported on alien movements. Scouts noted weapon placements. They did not panic. They did not despair. Ordinary life had trained them to survive in a world that could kill at any moment. And tonight, that ordinary life was shaping their strategy. The next morning, Zalkar called a meeting with his officers. "We cannot continue like this," he said. "They are not only surviving, they are adapting faster than we can attack. We must find weakness. We must understand how ordinary humans can resist extraordinary warriors." Vrix bowed slightly, hesitant. "Commander, perhaps it is not weakness. Perhaps ordinary humans are different. Perhaps the way they live, the way they think, the way they face danger. It is not something we can overcome with force alone." Zalkar's claws clicked against the metal table in frustration. "Difference is not strength. We will find a way. We must prepare a reconnaissance unit. Learn everything you can. We strike again at noon." Meanwhile, humans were already preparing. They reinforced walls, set additional traps, and studied the alien positions. Lyra and Kale moved among the people, ensuring coordination. "Observe the enemy, not just with eyes, but with understanding," Kale instructed. "Predict their movements. Learn from their mistakes. Ordinary life has made us stronger than they realize." When noon arrived, a small group of aliens attempted a surprise attack on a human patrol. They moved quickly, silent as shadows, confident that speed would give them an advantage. But humans were already aware. Scouts had noted unusual footprints and strange sounds. The humans led the aliens into a narrow canyon lined with hidden pitfalls. The first warrior to enter tripped on a camouflaged rope, falling into a pit filled with soft but dangerous spikes. Another was forced back by a sudden collapse of rocks carefully loosened by humans days before. The aliens had trained for combat, but not for a world where every ordinary hazard could become a weapon. Lyra observed quietly from a ridge, her eyes calculating every movement. She had learned to anticipate alien reactions, their aggression and their reliance on brute force. Ordinary humans might seem fragile, but their strength lay in knowledge, adaptability, and courage. Every trap they set was based on the land, itself not just weapons. Even the smallest humans contributed. A child guided a swarm of stinging insects toward a group of advancing warriors, while others redirected a small river to wash away alien footpaths. The aliens were strong, but they could not anticipate the ordinary ingenuity of humans born on a death world. After hours of skirmishes, the aliens were forced to retreat once more. Their pride was wounded, their confidence shaken. For the first time, they began to question their mission, their assumptions, and even their own strength. Zalkar stood atop a cliff, watching the humans below.
They survive everything we throw at them, and they do not even fight with weapons alone. Ordinary life has made them resilient, adaptable, unpredictable. Vrix nodded slowly. Commander, I believe we have underestimated them. Every day they face danger. Every day they overcome it.
We cannot crush them with force alone. We must understand them. Zalkar's claws tightened around his staff. We will not show fear, but we will observe. We will learn. Ordinary humans, they are not what we thought. And if we are not careful, they will turn ordinary into deadly. Back in the settlement, humans tended to minor injuries and repaired their traps. They did not boast about the victories of the day, nor did they celebrate. For them, it was ordinary life. They had survived danger, adapted, and continued. That was enough. Lyra stood beside Kyle, looking toward the horizon where the aliens had retreated. They are strong, but they do not understand our world, she said. Every rock, every river, every storm, we have survived them all, and we will survive the aliens too. Ordinary life is our greatest weapon. Kyle smiled. Yes, we do not need advanced weapons or massive armies. We have our knowledge, our courage, and our unity. Ordinary humans can face extraordinary threats and survive. As the sun set, the alien warriors regrouped, whispering among themselves. Fear was a quiet shadow, growing with each retelling of the day's encounters. Even the bravest warriors could not hide the tremor in their voices. They had encountered a species that treated the deadliest challenges as ordinary, and ordinary humans had bested them through ingenuity, courage, and sheer resilience. Zalkar stared into the distance, his mind heavy with thoughts he had never considered before. The humans had not just survived, they had taught him a lesson. Survival, intelligence, and courage could make the ordinary extraordinary, and if the aliens underestimated them again, they would face defeat not through lack of strength, but through underestimating what humans considered normal. The stars began to appear in the sky, glittering like diamonds against black velvet. Below, humans continued their evening routines, moving calmly through their settlement, repairing, preparing, and observing. To an outsider, it might have seemed peaceful. But on a death world, peace was earned every day. Ordinary life meant constant vigilance. Ordinary life meant resilience. Ordinary life meant the humans were ready for anything, even alien warriors. And in the shadows, watching, learning, and whispering among themselves, the aliens realized a terrifying truth. Ordinary humans were not just survivors. They were masters of their world, and masters of their world could make even the fiercest warriors pause in fear. The day had ended, but the lessons were only beginning. The aliens would learn, slowly and painfully, that ordinary life on a death world was enough to make humans not just survivors, but legends. The morning sun rose over the jagged cliffs and vast forests of the death world. Mist hung low over the valleys, curling around trees and rocks like restless spirits. For the humans, it was another day. Ordinary in its dangers, ordinary in its challenges. But for the alien warriors, it was a day of reckoning. They had underestimated humans before, and Commander Zalkar would not allow that to happen again. Zalkar's fleet had returned with reinforcements. The alien warriors had sharpened their weapons, repaired their armor, and studied the terrain. They believed overwhelming strength would finally crush the humans. Their confidence was higher than ever, but so was the humans' preparation. Kale stood atop a cliff watching the alien approach. "Today," he said to Lyra, "they believe they can take us. But ordinary life has made us ready for more than brute force. Today we show them that survival is skill, courage, and unity." Lyra nodded, her eyes scanning the horizon. "Every path they take, every move they make, we know it. Every hazard, every challenge, they cannot predict. Ordinary life is our greatest weapon." The aliens advanced in formation, their heavy boots pounding the rocky ground. Weapons gleamed in the sunlight, reflecting a dangerous arrogance. They believed they could overpower the humans with sheer force, but the humans had anticipated their arrival. The first humans the aliens encountered were hunters stationed along a narrow canyon. With calm precision, they triggered a trap. A massive boulder, loosened days before, tumbled down the slope, blocking the path and forcing the alien warriors to halt. Another trap released a swarm of stinging insects from hidden nests, driving some warriors to retreat in pain and confusion. Xalkar roared in anger. "Advance! Do not let them slow you." But the humans moved as if guided by instinct. Every obstacle, every hazard, every ordinary danger of the Deathworld had been transformed into a strategic tool. Young women, men, and even children used ropes, pulleys, and clever diversions to channel the aliens into traps without risking themselves. They worked as one, moving seamlessly, anticipating the alien moves before they were made. Lyra led a group along a ridge above the alien forces. With a simple gesture, she signaled a weighted net to drop from above. A warrior reached the canyon floor and was immediately entangled. Another attempted to jump over the net, only to stumble into a hidden pit filled with sharpened stakes. Ordinary humans had once again used ordinary tools to defeat extraordinary warriors. Vrix growled, frustration and fear rising in his voice. "They are impossible. Every move we make they counter. Every tactic, every plan is anticipated." Xalkar clenched his claws around his weapon. "Do not speak of impossibility. We are warriors. We have faced every challenge, every monster, every army, and we will overcome this as well." But even his voice lacked the confidence it once held. The humans' resilience, ingenuity, and courage were unlike anything he had faced. Ordinary life on a Deathworld had created warriors who could take advantage of every detail in the environment, who could fight without fear, and who could use danger itself as a weapon. The aliens pressed forward, hoping to break through the canyon, but every step was met with a new hazard. Small streams redirected to become rivers of mud and rock slowed their advance. Poisonous plants released clouds of irritating pollen when disturbed. Hidden pits, sharpened stakes, falling boulders, and rolling logs forced them into defensive formations. Even when the aliens tried to flank the humans, they were met with unexpected counterattacks. A sudden rock slide from a distant cliff, triggered by careful human timing, forced the warriors to retreat once more. Another group found themselves surrounded by aggressive yet well-trained animals that humans had guided into position. Ordinary creatures of the Deathworld became allies to those who understood them. Xalkar's voice cracked slightly as he shouted orders. "Formation Delta, push through, we will not retreat." But retreat was already on the minds of many warriors. They were strong, trained, and fearless in battle, but not against a species that turned ordinary life into an unstoppable force. Each small skill the humans had developed, climbing cliffs, handling venomous creatures, predicting storms, using the terrain, was now an insurmountable advantage. Lyra ran along the ridges, directing humans with subtle gestures. She guided a stream of water from a natural spring, creating a muddy trap that caused several warriors to stumble and fall. Others were lured into narrow passages where hidden spikes and nets awaited. Ordinary humans, armed with knowledge and courage, were systematically dismantling the alien advance. Kyle watched quietly, noting every movement, every reaction. "Observe, but do not waste energy," he instructed. "They will make mistakes, they always do. Ordinary humans do not panic, and that gives us the edge." By midday, the alien warriors had suffered heavy losses. Several were wounded or immobilized by traps. Their formations were broken. Their weapons, though advanced, were ineffective against the unpredictability of the environment. Their strength, unmatched in most battles, seemed useless here. Zalkar's pride was wounded. His chest heaved with frustration and disbelief. "They are only humans," he shouted. "How can they resist so much?" Vrick stepped forward cautiously. "Commander, they survive because they expect danger every day. Ordinary life has trained them to be unstoppable. Every skill, every instinct, every action is honed by survival. They are extraordinary." Zalkar's 3 eyes narrowed. He had faced many species, conquered countless worlds, and survived countless battles. Yet here, on this death world, he felt a fear he had never known. Ordinary humans, by their very existence, had become a force greater than any army he had led. The humans pressed their advantage, using every tool at their disposal. Hunters guided aggressive animals toward the alien rear. Children released carefully controlled rock slides to block reinforcements. Women and men directed water and mud to slow advances. Every ordinary task, digging, climbing, guiding, observing, was transformed into a weapon of survival. By evening, the alien warriors were exhausted. Their pride, their confidence, and their training could not overcome the humans' mastery of their own world. Ordinary life had made them masters of survival, and in the face of it, even alien warriors began to tremble. Zalkar called for a retreat, his voice heavy with defeat. "Fall back. Regroup at the plateau." Even as they retreated, the aliens could not hide the fear in their eyes. Humans did not cheer, they did not mock. They repaired traps, tended minor injuries, and observed the retreating enemy. Ordinary life on a death world had made them patient, resilient, and unstoppable. Lyra and Kale watched the alien forces disappear over the horizon. "They are strong," Lyra said quietly. "But they do not understand us. They cannot survive here the way we do. Ordinary life has made us ready for everything." Kale nodded. "Yes, and they will remember it. Every warrior that survives will carry the memory of humans who faced danger without fear, who used ordinary skills to defeat extraordinary enemies. They will think twice before returning." Night fell, casting shadows over the cliffs and valleys. Stars shone brightly above, reflecting on the rivers and forests below. Humans moved quietly through their settlement, tending to tasks, repairing structures, and preparing for the next day. To them, it was ordinary life, but ordinary life had just defeated one of the strongest alien forces in the galaxy. The aliens, gathered around fires far from the settlement, whispered among themselves. Fear had taken root. Even the bravest warriors could not hide the tremor in their voices. They had faced ordinary humans, and ordinary humans had turned every danger into a weapon, every obstacle into a tool, every act into a strategy. Zalkar sat alone, staring at the distant lights of the human settlement. "We cannot underestimate them," he muttered. "Ordinary humans. They are more than we imagined. We will return, yes, but we must prepare. Ordinary life has made them extraordinary, and extraordinary humans can destroy even the mighty." Below, humans continued their evening routines, moving calmly through their settlement. They repaired walls, checked traps, guided animals, and shared quiet laughter. For them, surviving danger was ordinary. For the aliens, witnessing it had been terrifying. The first full-scale clash had ended, but its lesson was clear. Ordinary humans were not weak, fragile, or defenseless. Ordinary humans could survive where death seemed certain. Ordinary humans could outsmart, outlast, and outfight even alien warriors trained for war. And as the stars gleamed above the death world, the aliens realized something they had never understood. Before, power was not just in strength or weapons. Power was in knowledge, resilience, courage, and unity. And humans, ordinary humans, had all of it. The battle was over, but the war had changed forever. The aliens had learned to fear the ordinary. And ordinary humans had learned that survival, skill, and courage could make them unstoppable. The morning sun rose over the death world, casting long shadows across cliffs, forests, and rivers. Mist hung low over the valleys, hiding hidden paths and hazards. For the humans, it was another ordinary day. Another day to survive and thrive on a world that did not forgive weakness. For the aliens, it was a day of reckoning, a day when pride, arrogance, and brute strength would be tested against the extraordinary resilience of ordinary humans. Commander Zalkar's forces regrouped on the distant plateau. They had suffered losses in every previous encounter. Their formations were broken. Their confidence was shaken. Even the strongest warriors could not hide the growing fear in their eyes. Zalkar himself stared at the distant settlement, his mind heavy with frustration and disbelief. Ordinary humans, creatures they had assumed weak, had proven themselves stronger than many advanced civilizations the aliens had conquered. Rix, his second-in-command, approached cautiously. "Commander," he said, "we have underestimated them. Every time we attack, they survive. Every trap we lay, they counter. They are extraordinary." Zalkar's claws clenched around his weapon. "Extraordinary," he growled. "They are humans, ordinary creatures of flesh and bone. How can they withstand warriors such as we? How can they turn ordinary life into a battlefield?" Vrix lowered his head. "Commander, it is not our strength that overwhelms them. It is their understanding of this world. Ordinary life on a death world has made them masters of survival. Every hazard, every storm, every predator, they face it every day. They anticipate, adapt, and survive. That is strength beyond ours." Below, humans prepared for the next encounter. Kyle stood atop a cliff, staff in hand, observing the alien positions. Lyra moved among the people, guiding them with subtle gestures and quiet instructions. Every person, from child to elder, knew their role. Every action was deliberate, precise, and effective. "Today," Kale whispered to Lyra, "we do not need to fight to show our strength. We only need to survive and demonstrate what ordinary life has taught us." The aliens advanced once more, hoping to overwhelm the humans with sheer numbers. But as they entered the familiar valleys and cliffs, they were met with controlled chaos. Humans had prepared every path, every slope, every river crossing. Simple skills, ordinary life skills, were now weapons. Rocks tumbled down slopes at precise moments, guided by ropes and pulleys. Streams of water diverted into muddy traps. Hidden pits awaited any alien who stepped carelessly. Even the smallest humans contributed. A child guided a flock of birds toward an alien rear, distracting them. A teenager triggered a net to entangle a warrior. Elders coordinated movements, ensuring every obstacle worked together. The aliens fought bravely, using every tactic and every weapon they had, but the humans anticipated each move, turning ordinary life into extraordinary strategy. Every obstacle, every hazard, every challenge became a weapon in the hands of those who knew their world. Zalkar roared in frustration. "Fall back. Regroup. They are being too strong." But even as he shouted, he knew the truth. Humans were not just strong, they were extraordinary. Ordinary life on a death world had forged them into creatures capable of surviving anything. Every skill, every act, every instinct was honed by years of danger and challenge. Brix nodded slowly. "Commander, I think we have learned the lesson. Ordinary humans are not to be underestimated. They are unmatched." Zalkar did not respond immediately. He watched as humans repaired minor damages, moved through their settlement with calm precision, and prepared for the next possible attack. They were not afraid. They did not panic. Ordinary life had made them resilient, patient, and unstoppable. Finally, Zalkar spoke, his voice quiet but firm. "We came to conquer. We came to destroy. But we have seen their strength. They survive where death is constant. They adapt to every danger. They are warriors." Vrix bowed slightly. "Yes, Commander. They have shown us what ordinary life can create. Courage, skill, adaptability. They are unmatched. The humans did not notice the aliens observing from the plateau. They continued their routines, repairing traps, tending animals, fortifying structures, and sharing quiet laughter. To them, surviving another day was ordinary. To the aliens, it was terrifying. Ordinary humans had turned every danger into a lesson, every challenge into a strategy, and every act into proof of their extraordinary nature. Lyra approached Kale. "They are stronger than ever, and yet they hesitate," she said. "They are beginning to understand that ordinary humans are not weak." Kale nodded. "Yes, they have witnessed our strength, our unity, our resilience. They have begun to respect it. That is the true power of ordinary life." As the day wore on, the aliens gathered for a final assessment. Zalkar addressed his warriors. "We came as conquerors. We leave with understanding. These humans, they are not weak. They survive everything, and their ordinary life has made them extraordinary. We cannot defeat them. We can only respect them." The alien warriors, though proud, bowed their heads. They had learned humility. They had learned that strength was not only in weapons or brute force, but in knowledge, courage, and adaptation. They had learned that ordinary humans could face dangers that would terrify entire armies and survive. Below, the humans watched the retreating aliens. They did not cheer. They did not celebrate. Ordinary life had taught them patience, resilience, and the value of survival. They had won not by conquest but by mastering their world. They had shown that courage and skill even in ordinary acts could overcome even the most formidable opponents. Zalkar turned to Vrix. "Tell our people, never underestimate what humans consider ordinary. They are stronger than any force we have encountered. Ordinary humans. They can destroy the mighty." Vrix bowed. "Yes, Commander. We will spread the word. Every warrior who survives will carry this lesson." As the aliens departed, humans continued their daily routines. Children climbed trees. Hunters checked traps. Elders repaired structures, and families shared food. Ordinary life on a death world was not easy, but it had forged them into a species, capable of facing any threat. Lyra stood on a cliff looking at the retreating alien ships. "They will remember us," she said softly. "They will remember that ordinary humans survive, adapt, and thrive. Ordinary life is our strength." Kyle placed a hand on her shoulder. "Yes, we do not need to boast. We do not need to strike first. Ordinary humans have the power to shape their world, to survive where others would fail, and to make even alien warriors hesitate in fear. That is our victory." Night fell over the settlement. Stars shone brightly above, reflecting on rivers and rocks below. The humans moved calmly through the evening, tending to minor tasks and preparing for tomorrow. Ordinary life on a death world was never easy, but it had made them strong, resilient, and fearless. The aliens, far away, gathered in their ships. They spoke in hushed voices, sharing stories of humans who had climbed cliffs without fear, who had handled dangerous animals with skill, who had used ordinary tools to outsmart extraordinary warriors. Every alien knew the truth. Humans were not weak. Ordinary humans were powerful beyond imagination. Zalkar, staring at the distant stars, whispered to himself, "We have learned a lesson we cannot forget. Ordinary humans, they are extraordinary." The humans did not know they had won such a victory that day. They did not know that alien warriors would carry stories of their courage and resilience across galaxies. But they did not need to. Ordinary life had taught them that survival, skill, courage, and unity were enough. That was all they needed to face any challenge, conquer any danger, and thrive in a world that seemed impossible to outsiders. The story of the Deathworlders would spread across the galaxy, not through weapons, conquest, or fear, but through the quiet strength of ordinary humans who survived, adapted, and thrived in a world that demanded everything. And for the humans, ordinary life would continue, calm and unbroken, every day a testament to the extraordinary power hidden in ordinary acts. The alien warriors had come to conquer. They left with respect, and humans, ordinary in their eyes, had proven themselves unstoppable.